I will now give a lecturette entitled How to Live a Life with a Cancer Diagnosis. How to live a life with a cancer diagnosis. How does or how should one live a life after a cancer diagnosis? Here are my personal TPORs, meaning thoughts, perceptions, opinions, and recommendations. After a cancer diagnosis may mean the following. Right after diagnosis, that one is said to truly have a cancer in the body, during treatment, after treatment, during the surveillance or monitoring period, during the time cancer recurrence has occurred, and during the near end of life stage. Note that the psychological distresses or emotional sufferings can be seen in the following phases of the cancer journey. Phase of diagnosis, phase of treatment, that is during, right, or soon after treatment, phase after treatment or in remission, phase when there is recurrence of cancer, and phase during the near end of life. This is the reason for this talk, how to live a life with a cancer diagnosis. How to live a life will be operationally defined as how to live or continue to live a functional and meaningful earthly life after a cancer diagnosis. A lot of times after a cancer diagnosis, people or patients have ceased or have a hard time living a functional and meaningful earthly life. This is mainly due to uncontrolled anxiety and depression, which in turn are due to uncontrolled fear, sadness, personal apprehensions, and psychosocial apprehensions. In the past Cancer Crusaders Club annual get-togethers, I have identified and mentioned the following, which I think are key coping tactics against the psychological distresses of cancer patients: acceptance of the cancer diagnosis, intentional living plan in the light of cancer diagnosis, trust in a competent and compassionate physician, spiritual trust, support from loved ones and significant others, and cancer journey sharing. This year, my lecturette on how to deal with cancer, I will expound on acceptance and intentional living plan as coping tactics against the psychological distresses of cancer patients. Before anything else, I'd like to emphasize that there must be awareness, then acceptance, before the formulation of the intentional living plan. Awareness, at least, of your cancer diagnosis and its prognosis, with correlation to your purpose and estimated lifespan on Earth. After awareness, acceptance. Acceptance of cancer has long been recognized as playing a critical role in the psychological adjustment to the illness. This is true not only for cancer, but for other diseases. It is effective in reducing the patient's distress with cancer. What is acceptance? Acceptance is emotion-focused coping that involves acknowledging the reality of the illness, learning to live with it, and engaging in attempts to address it. This is why I said there must be acceptance first before the formulation of the intentional living plan. Other definitions: a process of value change by which the patient accepts the losses related to the illness while maintaining a sense of self-worth. This process may involve exploring new meanings or possibilities in life based on one's existing values and strengths. Acceptance, another definition, willingness to be present with one's illness-related thoughts, feelings, and bodily sensations without judging or making unnecessary, usually futile, attempts to control them. Another definition, a realistic way of living with the illness, that is, an accepting patient does not judge, avoid, or deny the illness, but continues feasible engagement in everyday activities. Acceptance differs from resignation, that is, fatalism. For cancer patients, resignation refers to considering the illness as fate and believing that there is little or nothing one can do to change or control the illness, its symptoms, and one's quality of life. In other words, the resignation refers to giving up and no more striving for a fulfilling life, choosing instead to remain helpless, hopeless, and passive. Research suggests that acceptance is associated with lower anxiety and depressive symptoms, whereas resignation is associated with higher anxiety and depressive symptoms. Acceptance also differs from a fighting spirit. In the context of cancer, having a fighting spirit involves viewing the illness as a challenge, maintaining an optimistic outlook, and working towards beating the disease. Although both acceptance and having a fighting spirit involve taking an active stance, acceptance does not necessarily include efforts of positive reframing or aiming to change the course of the disease. Acceptance of cancer, in short, is making peace with the disease, letting go but not giving up, and accepting the reality of a cancer diagnosis. Acceptance does not mean anyone is giving up. It allows you to take control of your life and focus on what's most important to you. Live on despite a cancer diagnosis. Continue to live a functional and meaningful life. So my foremost advice is acceptance, as this is effective in reducing the patient's distress with cancer. After acceptance, make an intentional living plan. This will constitute your plan of action for a meaningful cancer journey. My operational definition of intentional living plan is that it's a plan you make targeting a certain number of years, guided by the prognosis of your cancer, in which you write down things you intend or want to accomplish on your graduation day or the last day of your targeted year, which will make you feel you have lived your life to the fullest, you have lived a meaningful life, and you are contented and ready to die a happy death. The assumption and reality here is that all of us will die one day. Before making an intentional living plan, get the following information from your trusted and compassionate physician and make the plan with the answers in mind. What kind of cancer do I have? Where is the cancer? Has it spread? Can my cancer be treated? What is the prognosis of my cancer? What is the chance that my cancer can be cured? What other tests or procedures do I need? What are my treatment options? How will the treatment benefit me? What can I expect during treatment? What are the side effects of the treatment? What happens if I don't get treatment? What is the surveillance plan after treatment? What can I do to prevent my cancer from coming back? How likely are my children and other family members to get cancer? And other information needed for the intentional living plan. Intentional living plan promotes living with intention, meaning living a purposeful life, It will be your cancer journey plan. It will be your plan on how to live a life with a diagnosis of cancer. Here is a template for the intentional living plan. Part 1, list the honor and the number of years to target for the intentional living plan. So the name, the current age, from what year to what year, from what age to what age. And then the number of years to target in the intentional living plan. If with stretch target, specify the reasons. Part 2, people to include in the intentional living plan. So enumerate the names of your spouse and partner, children, and significant others as applicable, whom you want to include in your intentional living plan. Part 3, legacies. So what are the legacies that I want to leave behind for my family and for my community? So be as specific as possible and include a timeline or deadline. Part 4, for the spouse, what will I do for my spouse? For the children, what will I do for my children? For the significant others, what will I do for my significant others? Be as specific as possible, include a timeline or deadline, place NA if not applicable. For myself, what will I do for myself? Be as specific as possible and include a timeline or deadline. Include the following goals as applicable: health, contentment, enjoyment, God or creator, financial, career, professional, social and relationship goals, etc. Part 8 will be preparing for a happy death. What will I do to prepare for a happy death, to be contented and ready to leave this earth? Be as specific as possible and include a timeline or deadline. So after that, at the end of your intentional living plan, affix a signature, put the date first accomplished, and then if there will be a review, or if there is a review, the date of the review and the updating. Having a well-formulated intentional living plan in the light of cancer can contribute to being healthy and not crippled as long as possible, being productive, having peace of mind, being contented, enjoying life, being happy in life, reaching the realistic longevity targets, and being ready to face curtain call or death. So my advice is to have acceptance of the cancer as the first step in living a life with cancer, so as to live a functional and meaningful earthly life as long as possible. Make peace with the cancer disease or cancer diagnosis. Let go, but not giving up. Continue to live a functional and meaningful earthly life as long as possible through your well-formulated intentional living plan. So this ends my lecturette, How to Live a Life with a Cancer Diagnosis. Cancer Crusaders Club, Breast Self-Exam Club, BSE Promoters and Practitioners Awards. This project was launched in January 15, 2022. The primary objective of the club or awards is to promote early detection of breast cancers among Filipino women. To promote and advocate the practice of a health habit called regular breast self-exam among Filipino women, so that in case a breast cancer strikes, they will be able to catch it early enough and have it treated as soon as possible. First awarding is on December 4, 2022. Breast Cancer Crusaders Promoting BSE receive 1,000 pesos each. BSE practitioners or members of the Breast Cancer Crusaders doing monthly BSE for at least 9 months receive 500 pesos each. Ayuda for breast cancer is discovered early through monthly BSE receive 5,000 pesos each. Eligibility requirements. Practitioners and promoters doing monthly BSE for at least 9 months must submit a report card and a video of BSE with clothes on once every 3 months. Attend the ROJoson pep talk on breast self-examination, a health habit to cultivate, and pass the online learning cum evaluation test exercise. A certificate of commitment and accomplishment is then given to those who completed the requirements. They are certified as breast self-exam practitioners and promoters who will help promote early detection of breast cancers among Filipino women. For 2022, the awardees are the following. Group of Imelda Cabrera, Group of Mary Chris Nesesia, Group of Zenaida Cabral, Group of Radis Basig, Group of Mabel Cordova, Group of Mary Ann Agustin Jose, who recruited 10 members, 5 of them shown here. The other 5 members. Group of Lorly Ricaforte, Group of Melingo, Group of Phoebe Caldino, Group of Francis Tejones, and Group of Mary Ann Maravilla. For 2022, awards will be given to 65 BSE promoters and practitioners amounting to 38,700 pesos. Sample feedbacks. Being one of the coordinator, I am able to educate my family and friends on how important to have a monthly BSE. This will help oneself to detect any possible problems earlier, especially with our family who have history of cancer. My auntie and my first cousin just died of breast cancer 2 years ago. I wish that by practicing this, no more from my family will undergo the same thing I have undergone, and I wouldn't want to lose anyone from my family with this sickness again. Instead of doing BSE occasionally and haphazardly, the project gave me a chance to do BSE the right way on a regular basis. I will encourage folks and friends to do BSE and perhaps ask them to join us in this project. This project on regular BSE will help a lot of women in the early detection of breast cancer and also alleviate unnecessary visits to the doctor. I will promote BSE among my friends by teaching them how to properly perform BSE and by telling them the many benefits of doing BSE on a regular basis. The benefits of this project regarding regular BSE will help a lot of women in the early detection of breast cancer, especially those who doesn't have or who don't have the means to pay mammogram or ultrasound on a regular basis. Congratulations and mabuhay to the 2022 winners. This project will be continued next year. Watch out for the 2023 announcement of details. Join us in this important project to promote and advocate the practice of regular BSE among Filipino women so that in case a breast cancer strikes, they will be able to catch it early enough and have it treated as soon as possible. Join us in this advocacy for the Filipino women.